Hello everybody. Welcome back to English Otherwise. My name is Mr. James, aka Cameron, and this is Breaking Down the News. I get up each morning, make myself some coffee, and then I highlight the headlines. Together we pick them apart and look at the little tidbits of interesting linguistic goodness, the very visual vocabulary that is out there, to help you expand your own vocabulary, improve your English, and maybe understand a little bit more about this crazy world. Thanks to everybody, like, subscribe, follow, and all of that jazz. And so, without further ado, good morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and all my cousins. Well, I guess we've already plugged in, so let's just jump in. It's a big news day today. Lots of little linguistic bits to take a look at. Trump now knows the price of the haunting bargain required to reopen the country in a pandemic, blah, 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 blah. Here we've got the price of and bargain. And that's two little terms that go together for sort of finance and business. A bargain, typically is when you get a bargain, it means that you're paying a price lower than what you think it should be. So you're getting a good deal. You're getting a good bargain. To bargain as a verb also means to sort of negotiate a price. To negotiate a price, to bargain with somebody, to haggle with somebody. But here, to the bargain means the deal that has been made. And that deal is haunting him. Much like if when somebody dies and their spirit doesn't go away, and so then you have a haunted house, and so the spirit sticks around, the spirit lingers, and it bothers you, maybe moving objects in your house, making strange noises, etc. And so it's something from your past that's still bothering you in the present. And he now knows the price of the deal, opening the country, pandemic getting worse. And so, okay, that's the price you have to pay for a successful economy. People are going to have to die. And, well, that seems to be his priority. We've had this word before, likely, unlikely, and likelihood. If something is likely to happen, if something is likely, it is probable. There's a high probability of it happening. There's a high likelihood of it happening. In this case, it's highly unlikely, and so very low probability, that the virus came from a Chinese lab, despite what some people are saying in order to just try and create trouble and distract from their own incompetence. Next up, model nearly doubles projected US death toll. In this case, we're talking probably about some sort of mathematical model, not a fashion model. Some lady on the runway that is making the projections for the effect of the virus. But again, death toll, when somebody dies, the church bell rings, and so therefore we say the death toll, the sound of the bell is the toll. Think of the Hemingway novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls. To double, easy peasy. 2 to 4, 50 to 100, 100 to 200, to double, to triple, to quadruple, quintuple, and on, but we usually just only go with double and triple at most. And projected, to make projections. Just like in the cinema or a home cinema, let's say you're sitting on your sofa and you've got your projector here, it's projecting the film up onto the wall in front of you, and in front of us is in the future, and so we're making a projection, we're taking a look at the future or making a prediction. But projections are usually based on some sort of models, mathematical or otherwise. They're not just guesses. They are based on some sort of model. Coincidence? Russian doctors keep falling out of hospital windows? Yeah, that's a bit odd. No comment. Hong Kong's mental health was battered by the protests. Nice, passive, past simple passive. And it was battered. It was beaten. And so if something is battered, it means it's hit repeatedly. Good morning, Berna. Not to say hi as I'm beating something, as I'm battering something. but not just hit and beaten, but especially in a way that implies that it has done damage. And so there was significant damage that had been done to the mental health of the citizens of Hong Kong as a result of the protests. From the protests and the crackdown by the government on the protests, and now isolation and the virus. The next two, just some more simple passives. Security guard was shot and killed after telling customer to put on a face mask. Ridiculous and saddening. Sad? Sadden? To make sad. All right. Park ranger telling a crowd to social distance. Hey everybody, can we just space it out a little bit? Don't crowd together. We need the space. We need to distance ourselves, stand away from each other. And some activists pushed the park ranger into a lake. The poor person is trying to do their job and protect the public health and safety, and got pushed into a lake. I guess that's better than being shot and killed. Unfortunate all around. How the US of A fell in and out of love with J. Crew. That's how old I am. I remember getting catalogs in the mail and then going through and finding things in a catalog. Then you'd have to call and place an order with the model number, and then eventually it would ship to you. So the point being, to fall in love with something, to fall out of love with something or someone. US women's soccer stars shocked by dismissal of equal pay claims. Dismissal, noun coming from the verb to dismiss, and it means to allow people to leave. As a teacher in a classroom, the bell would ring and I would say, all right, see you tomorrow, class dismissed, meaning the students can leave. However, to dismiss a claim, or to dismiss a comment is to say, nah, not important, no biggie. And so here we have the US women's soccer team. They're shocked because their claims, they want equal pay, and the association or whoever it is just like, yeah, whatever, equal pay, schmequal pay. Which is really unfortunate because, yes, the men's football team or soccer team, they typically fail to qualify for the World Cup. Yet the women's team have won 4 out of 8 World Cups for the United States. However, their claims aren't even being discussed. They're just being brushed off or dismissed. Breaks a year-long silence. Just to break the silence. The silence, everything is silent. Everything is quiet. And then he broke the silence. Yeah? Ooh, vocabulary from before. Something could shatter the silence. It's just nice visual vocabulary. Or you could just say, he finally spoke. Sorry, I keep looking down because the dog is chewing on the carpet, but I'm just happy that it's not the Ethernet cable. Yes, to hold a funeral, to hold a meeting, to hold a conference, and often it's used in the passive, because especially if you get a meeting request via email, you know who is making the request, and so we just say the meeting will be held in conference room 3. Seems like I'm pretty low res today, I don't know why. Who knows? Technology. And often after a lot of rain, or maybe some sort of earthquake, a whole bunch of that will just go like that, much like an avalanche would happen in the mountains with snow. To hang and swing sort of loosely. I'm dangling this pen. And so they're dangling just inches from a giant crater, like a hole in the ground or from a volcano. They probably didn't have houses on the edge of a volcano, but so they're just hanging there dangerously. Yeah, also, to dangle something means to offer, and you kind of dangle it in front of them, kind of like the idea of motivation. You're trying to get somebody to do something, like, and in English we say, in terms of motivation, you have the carrot and the stick. The carrot is used to, you dangle it in front of a horse, and it is to attract him, to entice him to move forward, and so the idea of a reward, or you've got a stick to beat the horse from behind, to motivate him to go forward. So you've got rewards and punishments. And so if somebody's dangling an offer or dangling a proposal, dangling a pay rise or something, it's trying to entice you or to persuade you to do something. But yeah, a landslide victory is just a huge victory with a huge margin, maybe 7-0, thinking back to the Germany-Brazil match. If you want something to bring a smile to your face, just Google the dancing traffic cop. Boeing 747 is playing a hero's role during the crisis because the 747, it's a big plane, it's a workhorse, it can move cargo, etc. But the point is to play a role in helping somebody. Yeah, to play a role, because all of life is like the theater. All of life is a play. We're on the world stage, and we all have our roles to play. Just like if you put a piece of wood in water, it floats. The opposite is to sink. If I want to change the light bulb, I have to reach up to the light bulb, but then more figuratively, because if we're reaching for something, it's something that we want, and so we use that for goals as well. And with little kids, you say, reach for the stars. You can do anything. Don't hold yourself back. And so, yes, hopefully today we all reach our goals. Some retailers are too broke to go bankrupt. Kind of interesting. To be broke means to have no money. And if a business or a person is or goes bankrupt, it means that they have no money. They can't pay their workers, they can't pay their rent, they can't pay their other debts and obligations. Yeah, and I'm supposing, I presume, that it's because lawyers are very, very expensive and they don't even have money to pay their lawyers to file the papers to then negotiate the terms of their bankruptcy. I could be wrong. Somebody out there, read the article and let me know. I could just be making that up. However, I come from a pretty informed position on this one because I've taught lessons about it before. What is in store for the cruise industry? To be in store for somebody or something. It just means what lies ahead. What is in the future? What is going to happen to us or the cruise industry? It's just a strange expression for talking about the future. What lays or lies in store for us? Remember, never believe anything I say unless it's actually about the language. I just make up examples. Let's take the ladies soccer team or ladies football team up above. They are struggling for equal pay. They are struggling to receive equal pay. They're struggling with or struggling against sexism and bias within the workplace. So we've got struggle to do something, and you're struggling for an end goal, and you're struggling with or struggling against whatever it is that's holding you back and keeping you down. However, we use this phrase meaning that it's not going to be the end of the world if to unite, to put together. And so unity is a noun, togetherness, working together. You probably know the word fault from attaching or putting blame on somebody. To blame, you did it, it's your fault. However, this is different. This is a nice, beautiful geological term. In this case, if you're talking about a fault line, a new fault in society, it's not about attaching blame, it's just about what is causing friction and dividing society. Operation Warp Speed. The super fast when they make the jump to hyperspace. To warp means to distort or change the shape of. So instead of going from A to B, they bend it, and it's much shorter distance from A to B if you do it that way. You have to kind of look down the edge of it to see if the piece of wood is straight or if the piece of wood is warped. Similar concept if you're going to be playing billiards or playing pool. That's why a lot of people, they'll roll the pool cue on the table or look down at it like that to see if the cue is warped. And that means to be distorted shape outside of what it is supposed to be. Like, no, you're not looking at this the right way. Like, you got some warped perceptions, you got some warped opinions. And so that's it for breaking down the news today. Thanks for tuning in to English Otherwise. I am your linguistic guide or even pilot. Mr. James, aka Cameron, and so I want to thank everybody for doing the like, subscribe, and especially sharing with a friend. Have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday, the 5th of May, and see you.